The final battle never happened. As Admiral Veltar ordered his fleet to advance, space tore open again at 5 different points around the solar system. More human battleships emerged from dimensional rifts, each one as massive and threatening as the Indomitable. The alien fleet found itself surrounded by technology they could not fight or understand. Fleet Admiral Quan Mi-kyung materialized on the bridge of her flagship, the Sovereign, through the same dimensional portal technology that brought the other vessels. She had commanded Earth's deep space fleet for 15 years, preparing for the day when humanity would need to defend its colonies against hostile aliens. "All ships report successful emergence," announced Captain Oh Dong-hyuk from his command vessel, the Defiant. "Enemy fleet is completely surrounded. They have nowhere to run." The alien armada that had seemed so powerful just hours before now appeared tiny and helpless. 6 human battleships formed a protective sphere around New Sol Colony, while 800 enemy vessels found themselves trapped in the middle. Their weapons that could destroy cities seemed like toys compared to the power surrounding them. Admiral Veltar stared at his tactical display in complete defeat. The readings showed impossible energy signatures from every direction as human vessels took control of the entire solar system. His pride had led the greatest fleet in Galactic Council history into a trap from which there was no escape. "All ships stand down," Veltar ordered quietly. "Weapons to safe positions. Prepare to receive communications from enemy command." The order spread through the alien fleet as ship captains realized their situation had become hopeless. Plasma cannons powered down while energy shields dropped to minimal levels. 800 warships surrendered to 6 human vessels in the most one-sided confrontation in galactic history. Ambassador Yu Sang-woo arrived aboard a smaller human vessel, his diplomatic ship emerging from the same dimensional technology that brought the battleships. The veteran negotiator had dealt with dozens of alien species during humanity's expansion into space, but never from a position of such overwhelming strength. "Admiral Han," Yu Sang-woo transmitted to the Indomitable, "I am ready to begin negotiations with the Galactic Council representatives." Han Woo-jin acknowledged the transmission and opened communication channels to the alien fleet. The time for demonstrations had passed. Now humanity would establish the terms under which they would coexist with other galactic civilizations. "Attention alien fleet commanders," Han Woo-jin broadcast on all frequencies. "You will maintain current positions while diplomatic representatives board your vessels. Any attempt to leave the system will be considered an act of war." General Morthek tried to rally his ground forces for one final assault, but his troops refused to follow orders. The Zephyrian warriors who had conquered dozens of worlds now cowered in their transports, unwilling to face weapons that could erase them from existence. "Cowards," Morthek snarled at his subordinates. "We are warriors. We do not surrender to inferior species." But his words carried no weight when faced with technology that made their advanced weapons seem primitive. The general who had terrorized human colonies found himself powerless against the very people he had hunted for sport. On New Sol Colony, Park Dae-ho and Kim So-ra watched the dramatic reversal of their situation. The 50,000 colonists who had faced extinction just hours before now lived under the protection of the most powerful fleet in known space. Children emerged from underground shelters to see human warships filling the sky above them. "Send a message to all colonies," Park Dae-ho ordered. "Tell them that Earth has not abandoned us. Tell them that humanity now stands as equals among the stars." Kim So-ra transmitted the news to every human settlement in the sector. The message that spread across dozens of worlds carried hope and pride as colonists learned that they no longer needed to fear alien aggression. Humanity had revealed its true power to the galaxy. Counselor Zethmar arrived aboard a Galactic Council diplomatic vessel, his ship escorted by human fighters that could destroy it in seconds if necessary. The senior counselor, who had dismissed humanity as a minor species, now faced the reality that Earth's children commanded technology beyond his comprehension. "Ambassador Yu," Zethmar transmitted as his ship approached the diplomatic zone. "The Galactic Council wishes to discuss new arrangements for human territorial claims." The negotiations that followed established humanity's place as a major galactic power. Ambassador Yu Sang-woo presented demands that the aliens had no choice but to accept. Recognition of human territorial claims, cessation of hostile actions, and formal representation in galactic governance became the foundation of a new order. Dr. Shin Jae-wook began sharing selected scientific principles with alien researchers, demonstrating humanity's willingness to contribute knowledge while maintaining strategic advantages. The dimensional drive technology remained classified, but theoretical physics exchanges opened channels for cooperation between species. Fleet Admiral Kwon Mi-kyung coordinated the establishment of permanent human bases throughout the sector. The colonies that had lived in fear of alien attack now became centers of human expansion into previously forbidden regions of space. Earth's military presence ensured that no hostile force would threaten human civilians again. Captain O. Dong-hyuk worked with colonial authorities to set up defense networks that could protect human settlements across dozens of worlds. The advanced technology that brought victory at New Seoul would now shield every human colony from those who refused to accept humanity's right to exist. Among the stars, as the alien fleet prepared to depart under human escort, word of the confrontation spread across the galaxy. The species that had dismissed humans as primitive newcomers learned that Earth's children possessed weapons and technology that could reshape the balance of power throughout known space park. Daeho stood on the observation deck of the new orbital defense platform, watching human and alien vessels working together to establish trade routes and diplomatic protocols. The colony that had nearly fallen to alien aggression now served as the symbol of humanity's rise to galactic prominence that the silence that had fallen over the alien fleet, when the first human battleship emerged, would echo through history as the moment everything changed. Humanity had taken its place among the stars not as supplicants begging for acceptance, but as equals who commanded respect through superior strength and technology. Children played in the parks of New Seoul while their parents worked to build a future where humans could expand freely across the galaxy. The threat that had nearly destroyed them became the catalyst for humanity's transformation from a minor species into the galaxy's newest superpower. The age of human expansion had truly begun, protected by battleships that could tear holes in space itself, and warriors who refused to surrender in the face of impossible odds. The stars belonged to humanity now, and no alien fleet would ever again threaten human colonies with impunity. The 10-minute deadline passed in deadly silence. Admiral Veltar refused to order his fleet to withdraw, believing that 800 warships could still overwhelm any single enemy vessel. His pride would not allow retreat in the face of human threats. No matter how advanced their technology appeared, Admiral Han Woo-jin watched the alien fleet maintain its aggressive positions around New Seoul Colony. The enemy commanders had chosen to test human resolve rather than accept his warning. He felt no anger at their decision, only disappointment that bloodshed had become necessary. Commander Bae, Han Woo-jin said to his tactical officer, "Select several uninhabited asteroids in the outer system. We will demonstrate our capabilities before engaging the enemy fleet directly." Commander Bae Seung-ho nodded and began targeting calculations. The Indomitable carried weapons that could destroy entire worlds, but precision strikes would prove their point without unnecessary loss of life. His screen showed dozens of suitable targets scattered throughout the asteroid belt. "Targets acquired, Admiral," Bae Seung-ho reported. 3 asteroids selected, each approximately 2 kilometers in diameter, all confirmed uninhabited by long-range scans. Park Ji-won monitored alien communications from her position at the communication station. Radio chatter across the enemy fleet showed growing confusion and fear as ship commanders discussed what to do about the human battleship. Many captains wanted to retreat, but their admirals demanded they hold formation. "The enemy fleet is fragmenting," Park Ji-won reported. "Individual ships are moving out of formation without orders. Their command structure is breaking down." Han Woo-jin studied the tactical display as alien vessels began spreading across a wider area. Fear was replacing discipline in their ranks as they faced an enemy beyond their understanding. Soon they would either flee or attack in desperation. "Fire 1 gravitational lance," Han Woo-jin ordered. "Target the first asteroid." Yang Hye-jin activated the exotic weapon system from her control station. The gravitational lance gathered energy from the space around it, focusing gravitational forces into a concentrated beam that could manipulate the fundamental structure of reality itself. The weapon fired without sound or visible light. Space-time twisted around the targeted asteroid as gravitational forces compressed its matter beyond the breaking point. What had been solid rock became a micro-singularity that lasted for mere seconds before dissipating into empty space. Captain Kilvanor watched in horror from his heavy, cruiser as the asteroid simply ceased to exist. His sensors could not explain what had happened. One moment the rock had been there, the next it was gone without any debris or energy signature that his instruments could detect. What kind of weapon does that? His science officer whispered in fear. I do not know, Kilvanor replied, but we are dealing with technology far beyond anything we understand. Across the alien fleet, panic began spreading as ship commanders realized they faced weapons that violated the basic laws of physics. Admiral Veltar demanded explanations from his science staff, but none could provide answers about technology that seemed like magic. Fire quantum disruptor, Han Woo-jin ordered calmly. Target the second asteroid. The quantum disruptor operated on principles that most alien civilizations had never discovered. It phased matter out of dimensional alignment, causing physical objects to fade from existence as their atomic structure lost coherence with normal space-time. The second asteroid began to glow with strange light as its molecular bonds dissolved. Layer by layer, the massive rock faded from reality until nothing remained but empty space where it had floated for millions of years. Technical specialist No Yoonji analyzed the alien fleet's responses from her monitoring station. Individual ships were breaking formation entirely now, their captains prioritizing survival over military orders. Several vessels had already begun moving toward the system's edge, preparing to flee regardless of consequences. Enemy fleet cohesion dropping to critical levels, No Yoonji reported. Approximately 30% of their ships are abandoning assigned positions. General Morthek screamed orders at his subordinates, trying to restore discipline among the Zephyrian ground forces. But even his battle-hardened troops showed fear when faced with weapons that could erase matter from existence. How could they fight an enemy that commanded forces beyond comprehension? All ships attack the human vessel, Morthek commanded. Focus all firepower on their engines and weapons. Several dozen alien ships opened fire on the Indomitable, their plasma beams and energy cannons unleashing enough power to destroy any conventional starship. The combined assault lit up space with deadly light as hundreds of weapons struck the human battleship simultaneously. The alien weapons simply disappeared as they approached the Indomitable's hull. Defensive systems that existed partially outside normal dimensions redirected the incoming energy into pocket universes where it dissipated harmlessly. Not a single beam reached the ship's armor. No damage reported, Yang Hyejin announced with professional calm. Defensive systems operating at 12% capacity. Han Woo-jin noted that the alien attack had barely activated their shields. The Indomitable could withstand the combined firepower of 1,000 enemy fleets without suffering meaningful damage. Earth's engineers had built this ship to fight against impossible odds and win. Fire temporal displacement cannon, Han Woo-jin ordered. Target the third asteroid. The temporal displacement weapon manipulated time itself as a destructive force. It accelerated the passage of time around its target, aging matter by millions of years in the span of seconds. Even the strongest materials could not survive such temporal stress. The third asteroid began to crumble as eons passed in moments. Erosion that should have taken geological ages compressed into seconds as the rock aged beyond its ability to maintain structural integrity. Soon nothing remained but cosmic dust scattered by solar winds. Captain Kilvanor watched his tactical displays show readings that made no sense. The human weapons operated on principles his science officers could not even begin to understand. How could anyone fight technology that controlled time and space as easily as conventional ships fired plasma bolts? Signal the fleet, Kilvanor ordered his communications officer. All ships prepare for immediate withdrawal. We cannot fight this enemy. But Admiral Veltar intercepted the transmission and countermanded the order. The alien admiral's pride would not allow retreat, even when faced with superior technology that rendered his fleet obsolete. His voice carried desperation as he demanded one final attack. All ships advance on the human vessel, Veltar commanded. Maximum firepower. We will overwhelm their defenses through sheer numbers. The demonstration had ended. Admiral Han Woo-jin watched hundreds of alien warships begin their final approach, their weapons charging for a last desperate assault. He felt sadness at the waste of life about to occur, but the enemy had made their choice. Space began to twist and tear at the edge of the solar system. Reality bent around a point of impossible darkness as something massive forced its way through dimensions that should not exist. The alien fleet watched in horror as their instruments detected gravitational forces that could crush entire planets. Admiral Han Woo-jin stood calmly on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching status displays that showed successful emergence from dimensional space. The veteran commander had spent 40 years preparing for this moment. Earth's most advanced warship had traveled through folded spacetime to arrive exactly where and when needed. "Emergence complete, Admiral," reported Captain Song Yuna from her navigation station. "All systems showing green. Dimensional wake is dissipating normally." The Indomitable stretched nearly 12 kilometers from bow to stern, its angular hull covered in weapon systems that defied every known law of physics. Black metal absorbed light instead of reflecting it, making the massive ship appear like a hole torn in space itself. No alien civilization had ever seen anything like it. Dr. Shin Jae-wook monitored the exotic matter containment systems from his science station. The dimensional drive technology represented decades of human research into theoretical physics. When faced with a hostile galaxy that refused to accept human expansion, Earth's scientists had been forced to think beyond conventional limits. "Containment fields are stable," Dr. Shin reported. "The dimensional fracture is sealing properly. We can maintain this position indefinitely." Han Woo-jin nodded and studied the tactical display showing the alien fleet. 800 enemy vessels maintained loose formation around New Sol Colony, their weapons still charged but no longer firing. The appearance of the Indomitable had shocked them into paralysis. Yang Hae-jin worked at her weapons coordination station, running targeting calculations on every alien ship in the system. The Indomitable carried weapons that existed nowhere else in the galaxy. Quantum disruptors could phase matter out of reality. Gravitational lances manipulated space-time itself as a weapon. Temporal displacement cannons aged targets by centuries and seconds. "All weapon systems ready, Admiral," Yang Hae-jin reported. "I have firing solutions on the entire enemy fleet." "Hold fire," Han Woo-jin ordered. "Let them get a good look at us first." The alien fleet struggled to understand what they faced. Admiral Veltar demanded reports from every science officer in his armada, but none could explain how the human vessel had appeared or what technology allowed it to exist. Their sensors detected energy signatures that exceeded anything in their databases. "The power readings are impossible," Commander Yexhai reported with trembling voice. "That single ship generates more energy than our entire fleet combined." Captain Kilvanor stared at his tactical display in disbelief. The human battleship appeared larger on his screens than some space stations. Its hull bristled with weapon emplacements that his computers could not identify or classify. Whatever humans had built, it represented technology beyond anything the Galactic Council possessed. "Should we attack it?" asked his weapons officer. "Attack it with what?" Kilvanor replied. "Our plasma cannons might scratch the paint." General Morthek screamed orders at his subordinates, demanding they prepare for immediate assault on the human vessel. The Zephyrian commander refused to accept that any human ship could threaten his invasion force. His species had conquered worlds through superior firepower and ruthless tactics. "All ships focus fire on that vessel," Morthek commanded. "No human technology can stand against the combined might of 800 warships." But even as he gave the order, doubt crept into his voice. The human battleship hung motionless in space, showing no signs of concern about the massive alien fleet surrounding it. Its silence felt more threatening than any weapon display. On the planet below, Kim Sora watched the tactical situation through the colony's sensor network. The human battleship had positioned itself directly between the alien fleet and New Sol Colony, creating a protective barrier that no enemy could cross. "It is one of ours," she whispered in amazement. "Earth actually built something that can fight them." Park Dae-ho joined her at the observation deck, studying the massive human warship through telescopic displays. The vessel looked nothing like the sleek exploration ships that had brought colonists to this world. This was a machine built for war, designed by people who understood that survival among the stars required superior firepower. "Send a message to the ship," Park Dae-ho ordered. "Let them know about our defensive positions and civilian locations." Captain Song Yuna received the colony's transmission and forwarded it to Admiral Han Woo-jin. The information confirmed what they already knew about the situation. 50,000 human civilians waited on the planet while 800 alien warships prepared to destroy them. "Admiral," called the communications officer, "the alien fleet commander is hailing us." "Put him through," Han Woo-jin replied. Admiral Veltar appeared on the main display, his forearms gesturing frantically as he spoke. The alien commander's confident manner had disappeared, replaced by barely controlled panic. Human vessel, identify yourself immediately. You are interfering with a lawful Galactic Council operation. Withdraw from the system or face the consequences. Han Wujin studied the alien admiral for several seconds before responding. When he spoke, his voice carried the calm authority of someone who held all the advantages. This is Admiral Han Wujin of the Human Defense Force Battleship Indomitable. You have threatened human civilians under our protection. You have exactly 10 minutes to withdraw your fleet beyond the system perimeter. Impossible, Veltar sputtered. We outnumber you 800 to 1. No single ship can stand against such odds. You are welcome to test that theory, Han Wujin replied calmly. But I suggest you reconsider. Your weapons cannot penetrate our defenses, and our weapons can destroy your entire fleet in less than an hour. The transmission ended, leaving the alien fleet to contemplate their situation. Many ship captains had already begun backing away from the human battleship, their survival instincts overriding military discipline. The massive human vessel radiated power that made their own weapons seem like primitive tools. Dr. Shin Jae-wook monitored quantum field fluctuations around the Indomitable's hull. The defensive systems could redirect incoming energy attacks into pocket dimensions, where they would dissipate harmlessly. No weapon in the alien arsenal could penetrate barriers that existed partially outside normal space-time. As the 10-minute deadline approached, tension filled the space around New Sol Colony. 800 alien warships faced a single human battleship, in a confrontation that would determine the fate of human expansion into the galaxy. The silence that followed would echo across the stars for generations to come. The final hour arrived with terrifying silence. Admiral Veltar watched from his command bridge as human ships remained hidden in the colony's shadow. No evacuation vessels launched from the planet's surface. No surrender messages came through the communication channels. The humans seemed determined to fight against impossible odds. Begin orbital bombardment, Veltar ordered his weapons officer. Target the main settlement first. Make sure other human colonies hear about what happens to those who defy the Galactic Council. Energy cannons across the alien fleet began charging with deadly light. Plasma weapons heated to temperatures that could melt through starship armor. The combined firepower of 800 warships prepared to turn New Sol Colony into burning ruins. Lee Tae-jin floated in the pilot seat of his small reconnaissance ship, watching the alien fleet through advanced sensors. The Silent Arrow had been hiding in the asteroid field for 3 weeks, gathering intelligence about enemy movements. His ship used experimental stealth technology that made it invisible to alien detection systems. The Silent Arrow was only 50 meters long, barely larger than a shuttle. But its sensors could track every ship in the alien fleet and monitor their communications. Lee Tae-jin had been sending regular reports to Earth about enemy positions and battle plans. This is it, he whispered to himself as alien weapons reached full charge. Those poor people down there have no idea what is coming. The first energy beams lanced toward the planet's surface, carrying enough power to destroy entire city blocks. But before the deadly light could reach New Sol Colony, something impossible happened. Long-range sensors began detecting readings that made no sense. Commander Yexai stared at his sensor display in confusion. The Axiom tactical officer had 30 years of experience reading space phenomena, but these readings defied explanation. A massive gravitational anomaly was forming at the edge of the solar system, growing stronger every second. Admiral, Yexai called across the bridge. We have unusual sensor contacts at the system perimeter. Something large is approaching our position. How large? Veltar demanded, irritated by the interruption during his moment of victory. Larger than anything in our database, Yexai replied. The gravitational signature suggests a mass equivalent to a small moon, but it is moving at speeds that should be impossible. Veltar abandoned his bombardment to study the sensor readings himself. The approaching object traveled faster than light without using any known technology. No hyperspace signature appeared on their instruments. No dimensional rifts opened in space. Whatever was coming toward them seemed to ignore the basic laws of physics. Choi Min-ho sat at his monitoring station on the edge of the solar system, watching instruments that had gone completely insane. The Deep Space Observation Post normally tracked asteroids and comets. But today it detected something that challenged everything he knew about space travel. This cannot be right, he muttered, checking his equipment for the 5th time in 10 minutes. Nothing can move that fast without entering hyperspace. The approaching signature registered as a solid object over 10 kilometers long, traveling at velocities that should tear apart any known material. Yet the object maintained perfect structural integrity while somehow exceeding light speed in normal space. Choi Min-ho sent the readings to New Seoul Colony, knowing they would arrive just minutes before whatever was coming reached the battle zone. He hoped Park Dae-ho would understand what the data meant, because he certainly did not. Back in the main fleet, panic began spreading through alien ranks as more ships detected the approaching anomaly. Captains who moments before had been confident of easy victory now demanded explanations from their science officers. The unknown contact was still hours away, but its approach sent ripples through space-time that their instruments could measure. Could it be a human vessel? Asked Captain Kilvanor from his heavy cruiser. The Axiom commander had fought human raiders before and knew they used some advanced technology. Impossible, Admiral Veltar replied. Humans barely have faster-than-light travel. They cannot build anything that large or that fast. But doubt crept into the Admiral's voice as the anomaly grew stronger. Human colonies had been established across dozens of worlds in recent years. Perhaps Earth's government had been building weapons in secret, while the Galactic Council ignored the expanding human presence. On the planet below, Kim So-ra received Choi Min-ho's sensor data and immediately understood its importance. Something was coming to help New Seoul Colony. Something large enough to change the entire battle. She ran to find Park Dae-ho, her tablet showing readings that made her hands shake with excitement. "Administrator," she called as she burst into his office. "You need to see this. We have a massive contact approaching the system at impossible speed." Park Dae-ho studied the sensor readings with growing amazement. The approaching object was larger than anything humans had ever built, yet the gravitational signature matched theoretical designs he had seen in classified military reports. Earth had been working on something secret, something that could change everything. "How long until it arrives?" he asked. "At current speed, less than 4 hours, Kim So-ra replied. "The alien fleet is already detecting it. Their bombardment has stopped while they try to understand what is coming." Above them, the alien fleet had indeed paused their attack. Ship captains argued with their commanders about whether to continue the bombardment or prepare for whatever was approaching. The unknown contact continued accelerating, somehow gaining speed without showing any engine signatures. General Morthek demanded answers from his science advisors, but the Zephyrian commanders knew as little as anyone else. Their species had conquered hundreds of worlds and fought dozens of different enemies. Nothing in their experience compared to the readings their sensors were detecting. "Perhaps it is a natural phenomenon," suggested one of his officers. "A rogue planet or massive asteroid." "Rogue planets do not travel faster than light," Morthek snapped back. "This is something else. Something we have never encountered before." Lee Tae-jin continued monitoring the situation from his hidden position. The Silent Arrow's advanced sensors provided clearer readings than the alien fleet could achieve. What they detected was definitely artificial, definitely under intelligent control, and definitely heading straight for the battle zone. The alien fleet began changing formation, moving from bombardment positions to defensive arrangements. Hundreds of warships that had been confident of easy victory now prepared for a threat they could not understand or predict. As the hours passed, the approaching anomaly grew stronger and more defined. Space itself seemed to bend around the massive object as it crossed the outer system at impossible speeds. Whatever was coming would arrive soon, and when it did, the battle for New Seoul Colony would become something entirely different from what anyone expected. The morning sky above New Seoul Colony turned dark as shadows fell across the settlement. Park Dae-ho stood at the observation deck of the administrative building, watching hundreds of alien warships take positions above his world. The massive vessels blocked out the sun, their hulls gleaming with weapon systems that could turn the entire planet into glass. Park Dae-ho had seen many battles during his time in Earth's Navy. He fought against pirates in the outer systems and defended trade routes from raiders, but nothing prepared him for this sight. 800 alien ships formed perfect lines in space, each one larger than anything humans had ever built. The Galactic Council had sent their entire combined fleet to deal with one small human colony. Kim So-ra rushed into the room, her tablet showing enemy fleet movements. She worked as the colony's defense coordinator, though defending against this force seemed impossible. Her face showed worry, but her voice stayed calm. They are moving into bombardment positions, she said. The lead ship is transmitting on all frequencies. They want to speak with you. Park Dae-ho nodded and activated the main communication system. The holographic display showed Admiral Veltar, a tall creature with 4 arms and skin like polished metal. The alien's eyes glowed red as he spoke in perfect human language. Human Administrator, I am Admiral Veltar of the Axiom Confederation. You have 24 hours to begin evacuating this world. All human presence in this system must end within 72 hours. If you refuse, we will remove you by force. The transmission ended before Park Dae-ho could respond. He looked at Kim So-ra, who was already analyzing the alien fleet formation on her tablet. Her fingers moved quickly across the screen, gathering data about each ship type and weapon system. What do we have for defense? Park Dae-ho asked, though he already knew the answer. 12 patrol craft, 6 mining ships we converted to carry weapons, and the orbital defense platforms, Kim So-ra replied. Against 800 warships, we might last 10 minutes. Park Dae-ho walked to the window and looked down at New Seoul. 50,000 people lived in the colony, families who came here to build new lives among the stars. Children played in the parks while their parents worked in the factories and farms. These people trusted him to protect them, but how could anyone fight such odds? The colony had been peaceful for 5 years. Humans discovered the world during their first wave of expansion beyond Earth's solar system. The planet had clean water, breathable air, and rich soil perfect for growing food. The Galactic Council ignored human requests to claim the world, so humans settled it anyway. That decision led to this moment. The alien species that controlled this part of space decided humans had gone too far. They would make an example of New Seoul Colony to show other humans what happened when they expanded without permission. Kim So-ra continued studying the alien fleet. Her background in military tactics helped her understand what they faced. The enemy ships used standard formations from their military textbooks. Energy shields protected their hulls while plasma cannons provided main firepower. Their tactics relied on overwhelming numbers and superior firepower. Send a message to Earth, Park Dae-ho ordered. Tell them about our situation. I already did, Kim So-ra replied. But Earth is 47 light-years away. Even using the fastest ships, help cannot arrive for months. Park Dae-ho knew she was right. Earth had been building new ships and expanding their military, but nothing could travel fast enough to help New Seoul Colony. The humans were alone. General Morthek appeared on another communication channel. The Zephyrian commander controlled the ground forces waiting in orbit. His species looked like giant insects with sharp claws and armor-like skin. Morthek enjoyed destroying human settlements and had led attacks on 3 other colonies. Administrator Park. Morthek clicked in broken human language. My troops wait to land on your world. Surrender now and we will make deaths quick. Fight us and we will hunt every human for sport. Park Dae-ho cut the transmission without responding. He had dealt with creatures like Morthek before. The Zephyrian saw humans as weak prey to be hunted and killed. They would not show mercy even if the colonists surrendered. The alien fleet continued moving into attack positions. Ship captains tested their weapons by firing at empty space, showing the colonists what waited for them. Plasma beams lit up the darkness while energy cannons charged with deadly light. Kim So-ra received reports from the colony's observation posts. Citizens watched the sky with fear as more alien ships arrived every hour. Some families packed their belongings, hoping for evacuation ships that would never come. Others prepared to fight with farming tools and mining equipment. The alien commanders seem very confident, Kim So-ra noted. They are not even bothering with advanced tactics, just standard formation bombing. Park Dae-ho studied the enemy fleet arrangement. The aliens clearly expected easy victory. Their ships maintained loose formations that would work against primitive enemies. They had not faced serious resistance from human colonies before. Send another message to Earth, Park Dae-ho said. Use the emergency code channels. Tell them the hammer is about to fall. Kim So-ra looked confused by his words, but she sent the message anyway. Park Dae-ho had spent enough time in military intelligence to know about classified projects. Earth's government had been working on something secret, something that might help against enemies like this. The first day passed quickly. Alien ships completed their positioning, while human defenders prepared for the impossible fight ahead. Children were moved to underground shelters while adults took positions at weapon stations that could barely damage enemy scouts. As the second day began, Admiral Veltar broadcast another message to the colony. His red eyes showed amusement as he spoke about human weakness and alien superiority. The Admiral clearly enjoyed terrorizing the colonists. "You have 24 hours remaining," Veltar announced. "Begin loading your people onto transport ships or we will begin bombardment. The Galactic Council has decided that humans expand too quickly. Your species needs to learn its place." Park Dae-ho stood silent during the broadcast. When it ended, he looked at Kim So-ra with determination in his eyes. "Continue monitoring their fleet," he said, "and keep watching long-range sensors. Sometimes help comes from unexpected places." Kim So-ra wondered what he meant, but she followed orders. The alien fleet prepared for battle while 50,000 humans waited to learn their fate. In space above them, hundreds of warships charged their weapons and prepared to end the human colony forever.